All right. Welcome, everybody, to Insert More Coins. I have the greatest, illustrious man there is on the booktubes that there is. I think he is in every chat that there is whenever there's a live from somebody. Just an amazing person and has wrote an incredible book, The Fall of Selvandrea. It is the man, the myth, the legend, Tim McKay. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm good, Rowdy. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty good. A little under the weather, but other than that,
Yeah,
we are all right.
yeah. I feel bad. We had rainfall here, but I didn't have to go out in it, so I feel okay. But
You
uh,
know, I just seen, I guess it was earlier today. Are you going to get hit with any of the, I guess, hurricane that's rolling up the East Coast, sort of? You going to get any of the weather from it?
no, we're far enough in that we get
You know,
maybe
mess with
the
it.
tail end. Yeah, we get more of the weather from the Great Lakes area that
Oh,
comes
yeah,
out.
Michigan. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, we had tornado warnings today. Nothing came of it.
Really?
Yeah,
Do
every
y'all have,
once in a while we get
I was going to
tornadoes
say, do
here in
y'all have
Mountain.
tornadoes up there? Like, that just seems weird to me that far north.
It does. It feels weird, but yeah, every once in a while. When I was younger, I remember one that took a few roofs off across the river from us, which is only a
Yeah.
5 minute drive from where I am. And a few years back, three, maybe four, at my old apartment,
Yeah.
I watched as a tornado essentially came in because I was high enough. I could see where it hit the area. I mean, it was torrential rain, and I got to drive through the area that the tornado hit, like the next day, and you could just see the
Yeah.
devastation.
Oh, wow.
Very rare, but when it does happen here, it's pretty messy.
Yeah. Got
Yeah.
Josh in here. What's going on, my
Howdy,
friend?
Josh.
Oh yeah, they. I know they've been dealing with a whole lot of flooding in like Texas and stuff. Like
Yeah,
apparently it's like bad. Like
yeah,
several kids and everything passed away. Like it's sad stuff.
yeah. I mean, flash flooding is
So
is
yeah,
yeah.
I watched a which is totally nothing to do with this, but I watched a. Did you see the flash flood video that they had of it on how fast it rose the water
I,
where it
s-
was at that river? Like
I don't think I saw any clips. I saw it described.
yeah,
Or
oh,
the read.
I watched the video and it was like they time lapsed it for like 30 seconds and it rose. It was like crazy, like 27 feet or something in like a
Oh wow,
matter of just a few hours. It was
that's
wild.
scary. That's really
Yeah,
scary.
very much. All right, let's talk about some positive stuff here. So
Yeah.
let's talk about your book. How would you like to talk about that?
So many directions we can go. Well, I mean, you've had the fun now of having listened to the audiobook, which is, I feel like I'm still, it's weird because, that was, there was a huge journey to finally get that put together and then ending up doing it myself. And the learning process of figuring all that out on the editing side, on the narrating side. Um, and then the launch happened so sporadically because ACX doesn't really tell you. So one day you don't have an audiobook and the next you do. And it was 5:30 p.m. at night. I'm in the middle of eating. Find out I have an audiobook now, I guess. And I thought, oh no, no one's gonna hear about this because everyone's eating. It's a terrible time to post. And the community came through. I think it's been the best launch of something related to my books
Yeah.
I've had. Just blew me away. So it's been really fun. I feel like I'm still on the high of that, and I'm already starting to record my next audiobook. So just
Oh,
never ends. Author
yeah.
life.
That's
Uh,
awesome. I wonder why do they not tell y'all? Like, is it just when it's done for them, like it's done and there you go, like good luck
yeah,
type
like
deal?
it's not like putting an ebook out there or even a hard copy.
Yeah,
Because yeah, KDP I love. That's what I publish through, and I've never had issues. It's all you can pre-schedule everything. Very versatile system.
yeah.
But with ACX, which is technically still Amazon owned, right?
Mhm.
But no, they say they say 10 business days roughly is the estimate they give. It may happen sooner, it may happen much later. I've heard horror stories of it being a month later that they finally
Oh
available.
wow.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you just don't know. And on the day that they've approved it, you get an email. You get an email saying, "Oh, by the way, your book is live." Like
Okay.
you don't get any chance to schedule it, anything.
Yeah.
It's not there 1 second and it's out there in the world the next.
So is it kind of one of those like, okay, they say 5 to 10 days. So do you put out I don't know if I didn't see it or anything. So you might have posted and I just didn't see it. But do you put anything up like, hey, got an audiobook coming in the next couple of weeks, get ready type deal?
Yeah, yeah. So I
Regular?
still tried to build that hype, but
Yeah.
it's hard when it's that up in the air. And again, I don't want to
Mhm.
build what you really don't want to do is say, "Oh, I've got an audiobook coming in a week," and then a month later, you're still like,
Oh
"Oh, it's coming soon, I promise," That's
yeah.
so I tried to find the happy medium there, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to give too many false promises, especially because I'd already had so many setbacks with the audiobook originally.
Yeah.
I was I was supposed to have a narrator and that fell through. So that added essentially another 2 months to the process of getting it out there. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, I'd
That's
already told people a few too many times, I swear there's an audiobook coming soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like far as process of that, so you just read all your lines because you were the one that did it. This is your narration of it. You just read everything off, and then when you're done, you just send it to them, and then they do the rest, and then it's just done.
Yeah, I mean, well, you read it off, which sometimes takes a few takes or clipping pieces together. Although I was very careful about that. I always tried to keep it within one sitting so your voice doesn't sound too different because,
Yeah,
even a single gulp of water can radically change your voice. You have to be so
yeah,
careful. But then you do the editing, and they get you to send it chapter by chapter, and opening everything is separate files. You load it into their system. You use a lab feature they have where you check that everything meets their specific requirements. So I had to run some programs over it to make sure everything fit within their sound ranges and their file types and all that. Yeah, and then once it's all uploaded chapter by chapter, you can test it there too to see how it'll sound on Audible. And then yeah, you click submit, and from there it just falls into them approving the cover, approving the metadata, and approving the actual files. But yeah, and
cool.
again, there I can't really they say 10 days, but I think after 2 days they approved I believe it was the cover. Another 3 days later, they approved the metadata, and then they did the next two steps all in 10 seconds of each other. So you really have no idea how
Yeah,
long it took. But
yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
So okay, just you mentioned the cover. What got you to change it? Because this new one that you have, it's been out a few months, obviously.
Mm,
It is incredible.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what got you to change it just in the first place? You just didn't like the first one, or
Well, so the story there is that the plan was always to get an illustrated cover, and
okay,
so I had been in conversation with my intended cover artist, but I found out, like he was very gracious. We went back and forth, and he said, "Okay, yeah, it's probably going to be a year and a half at least before I'm able to do this, and here's what the price is going to be, and that's kind of the minimum. It'll depend on how much detail there is." And I mean, he already had the brief from me, so it's not like I was planning to add more. So, yeah, it was a very hefty price and a very long wait. And in the midst of that, and that's the thing. So that was, and I braced for that.
yeah,
But in the midst of that, I decided I wanted some interior art. So that's when I found Joe Requeza because I saw some of his black and white art elsewhere, and I thought, oh,
yeah,
this is I said, "Hey, I'm Tim. Here's my book." And I was just, "Would you be willing to do this?" And he said, "Yeah, sure. I can start on these next month, and here's the price." And it was ridiculously low for that level of quality.
yeah.
And with a 1 month wait time, and once he got started, it took him about a month and a half to do all three.
Oh,
Uh,
that's awesome.
yeah, and I mean, everyone's seen those illustrations all over social media
Yeah,
because I mean they're amazing.
yeah,
He never misses. He never misses.
yeah,
And so once I got those from him, I don't know why it took so long for the thought to even cross my mind, but eventually I thought maybe I should just ask Joe because he's a god, if he would have the time and what his rate would be to do an
yeah,
illustrated cover for this book. And he said, "Oh yeah, I can start on that next month, and here's my rate, and it's like less than half of what the other guy was charging."
yeah,
And I mean, at that point, I was like, "Oh wow," because I frankly Joe's illustrated art, black and white or color, he blew me away everything I saw from him. So when I I would have expected him to be twice as or 3 times as much, as he
Yeah.
charged. I thought, what? Okay, yeah, you're my guy. So I kind of politely said to the other guy, I mean, we weren't, totally confirmed anyway, and I think I'm gonna have to go a different direction. And he said, oh yeah, totally understand. It's all good. He was very
Yeah.
gracious. Yeah, and yeah, so in a nutshell, that's what happened. So next thing you know, I'm about to like I have a cover coming my way a whole year and a half ahead of schedule, right? But
Yeah.
because I thought
Yeah.
that I was gonna have to wait a year and a half, I had that earlier, the cover,
Yeah.
the first cover, I had this already done
Yeah.
because I figured, okay, a year and a half waiting on when I have the manuscript already done, edited, I have interior art, I have all this stuff already done. A year and a half is a really long wait. And
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't go into traditional publishing to avoid this kind of stuff,
Exactly.
like 2-year waits, 5-year waits to publish a book, ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my thinking. I thought, okay, I'm going to put this out there, get early reviews, get people talking about the story, and then I'll have this new cover a year from now when I
Yeah.
can. So that's just what happened. It ended up being that I had this cover out and found out Joe could do it much sooner,
Mhm.
and ended up replacing it. I think three or 4 months later is when
That's
the new
awesome.
cover came out. Yeah. So
Mike said that I've got to take you down. So
howdy, Mike. Yeah.
I definitely plan on it. All right. So, like, okay, so whenever you did that and you showed off your new cover and everything, was that like a spike in sales or
Oh
anything?
yeah.
Like,
Oh
does
yeah.
that help? Because I don't care. Everyone's like, oh, covers ain't everything. The story matters. See, I don't know if I agree with a lot of that. I think the cover matters a lot, and I think a lot of people judge, as they say, judge a book by its cover, because if something just doesn't look awesome, most people just ain't going to do it or buy it,
Yeah.
whether it's supposed to be amazing or not.
I like both because I have to admit I get irked if I buy a book for its cover and then get burned by the bad writing, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
So so that's the dark side of that is you can get a lot of really negative reviews if you don't then deliver. If you're going to present
yeah,
yourself as quality, which is what a good cover says. It says expect quality from what's within these pages. So if you don't deliver on that, you can get even worse reviews than you would have gotten otherwise, you
yeah,
know? So
yeah,
there is a trade-off there. If someone is very new and publishes with a lackluster cover, it might mean they're going to get more fair reviews, and it's
yeah,
maybe a good way to build yourself up initially. But then again, like the flip side of that is, I've seen some books that are frankly terrible but have amazing covers that do very well.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah.
I agree with that. Like for instance, I'll even name one that I wasn't even super blown away with, but like to me, and I know it's going to be blasphemy for a lot of people, but I didn't care for Hyperion at all.
Mm.
Like that book's just not good, but that is one of the sickest covers there is. I mean, Shrike is an amazing character, but you just don't get anything from him really. I mean, you do, but I don't know. Just the book just wasn't my taste, and it is what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
And
All right. So, what would you say was your inspiration in writing this book or your book?
oh, I mean, yeah, that's this one goes back far enough that I can trace the first ideas I had for it to when I was like 10 years old, but put a lot of it aside, for a lot of different journeys I've been on. Um, by the time I really got into it, yeah, it was kind of ultimately meant to be a way for me to explore the chaos of life, and that's ultimately it. Is fighting your way through confusion to some semblance of hope. That's the idea behind it. Is when there's this pervasive darkness and chaos in the world around you, how do you claw your way out of that hole? And what does it take to get to the other side of that? That was kind of and maybe that sounds darker than it is. It's definitely a dark story, but also a lot of
Yeah.
fun. It was also just meant to be a chance to maybe get escape. I like escapist stories. I like the chance to get out of the world we're in and
Yeah.
enjoy and hope for something better and believe that better is possible. And that was kind of the central core theme of it too. You're meant to get into this story and have fun in the
Yeah.
midst of some heavier, dark themes, but yeah, it was meant to be that blend of that original inspiration of escaping the chaos and darkness, and also just having a jolly good time.
Yeah. Which I know me and you talked about it, but I'll say it again. Like it to me felt like kind of like a video game book,
Mm,
and I mean, it's got everything. I mean, you've got dragons, you've got a little backstabbing here and there. You've got that's just multiple heroes. Like I love like the twins or the girls, the
mm.
sisters like that. I thought their story was really good. It's Man, it's got everything. Like it literally has everything in it. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed it. So
I joke with Mike all the time, so I don't know if he's still here, but he jokes that he never reads a book over 500. But mine has 3 parts, and it really does read almost like 3 segments like it's like
yeah,
3 books,
yeah,
but not quite. You need all 3 parts together to have that full story. Yeah, Mike confirms.
yeah. Me too.
Yeah. And so that's the thing is it's meant I even wrote it that way on purpose. I got hooked on fantasy with smaller, almost novella length books. And
Yeah.
then I progressed right from that to Lord of the Rings. So, there was no
Okay.
middle ground for me, but I wanted that blend of both. I wanted the scale of and epicness of something like Lord of the Rings with the bite-sized appeal of the earliest books I read.
Okay.
And yeah, where was I going with that? Relating to like the characters and the elements. Well, what that means is you have like 3 stories worth of content thrown in to this single book,
Yeah.
so which is I think part of why there's so much in there. Even within each part, there's a lot, but then put those 3 together and it's a mountain and it's great. I love it. I drink that stuff up.
Yeah. All right. What influences did you have that made you become an author?
Hmm. Well, I mean, beyond the fact that I started, reading and just loving fantasy early on. Well, just reading in general, really, because I dove very in my very early years from fantasy into epic fantasy into historical fiction,
Mhm.
and some historical fantasy. Less than I'd like. I really want to put more time into reading historical fantasy. There are a lot of good examples out there. Um, yeah, but everything from like the Patrick O'Brien series, A Master and Commander. If you've seen
Okay.
the movie, the book's based on that. There's a solid 20 of them, and I love them.
Okay.
Les Mis and Count of Monte Cristo are my favorite books in the world. Um,
I'm reading Count of Monte Cristo by the end of the year, I think's the plan. Hopefully, if everything goes right.
that's awesome.
So
Yeah,
I can't do it this summer. I'm too busy, but that is like the one classic that I'm dying to read.
yeah.
I don't have
And
many, but like that's the pinnacle for me that I want to read.
I loved Les Mis. I mean, frankly, both of those are classics that delivered, in my opinion. And I mean, yeah, I'm due for a reread of Count of Monte Cristo. Actually, I reread Les Mis not too long ago, maybe last 2 years ago, I think. But yeah, and I will say that Josh is right. Like it's a
Yeah.
commitment. It's
It is.
big.
Yeah, it's like the first one I bought from a used bookstore, and I didn't know at the time, but I think I'd interviewed is Dave Lawson, and he's got the
Okay,
special edition from Barnes and Noble, that real pretty, blue and red one. I mean, it's beautiful looking,
that's awesome.
and he
Yeah,
had showed me it like it was his favorite book of all time. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure,
good
and
take.
so I bought like this little paperback, and it's like 250 pages or something, and I'm like tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure this book's supposed to be bigger
Yeah,
than this. And everyone's like, oh, yeah. Like the real one's like 900 pages. I was like, okay.
yeah.
So I went and bought the some kind of the classics version, whatever. That's the full one.
Mm,
So what's up, Mark? We got him in here. We're talking about the County Monte Cristo.
yeah.
So
Good old. Have you seen the movies or the shows or any of the?
I have not.
Oh,
No, that's the thing. I've heard the movie is amazing. So I'm trying to stay away from it because I'm super interested in it. I like
that's
to, if I
tough.
get a chance, now that I started reading, then beginning of last year, it's kind of like now I'm to the point where I want to read the book before I watch the movie. I know I'm fixing to probably in August read The Long Walk because I want
Mm,
to watch the movie. And then
okay.
same thing, Project Hail Mary. I've got to have it read before March of next year because I cannot wait to
Yeah,
watch that
that looks
movie.
good. That looks so
Yeah,
good. Yeah, so I actually that's on my TBR because I want to
Yeah.
read that before seeing the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're such different experiences, but both I would say equally good that
Yeah.
it's definitely worth reading the book first. But you won't those who have seen the movie first, it's so different that you can go to the book safely.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, I was blown away. Yeah, there's I don't well, I won't spoil anything. They it is one of the times where I'm very satisfied. Excuse me. Oh man,
You're good.
I was recording audiobook for like
Yeah.
4 hours today, so whew, yeah, my voice is already blown out. But oh man, the movie made some changes, and normally, that can go very awry for
Yeah.
their changes actually really work.
Yeah.
Um, so even people, I've talked to plenty of people who love the book, and everyone is satisfied with the changes they made. Yeah, Jim Cavaziel, I always mispronounce it, Cavaziel, and oh come on, oh I'm gonna forget his name. Oh man, I'm forgetting his name. Yeah, the guy who plays across from him, just fantastic. And
Yeah.
then Richard Harris.
Oh,
I even throw some nods. I don't throw many allusions into my stories, but I do make allusions to Richard Harris.
okay.
I try to in every novel I write. So I've done
Yeah.
it now in The Fall of Selvandrea and in my upcoming novella. To Richard Harris. He plays the priest in Count of Monte Cristo, but he also played Dumbledore in the first two Harry Potter movies, and he played Marcus Aurelius in Gladiators. So yeah,
Yeah. 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 Okay.
classic actor, and he always has
Yeah.
he has a line that he always says in all the movies he's in, all those movies at least that he's been in.
Yeah.
And because of that, I thought, oh, I have to. So I try to use that line somewhere in. I won't say what you'll notice it if you notice it.
Yeah.
If you don't, you don't. Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. Transition a little from that then. What would you say, what authors have influenced your writing then?
Hmm. Oh, see, that's really tough. Writing style, that is something I feel like I'm still finding my voice, if I'm being honest, because even just seeing the difference between the original version of Rise of Dresca compared to what is now in the book you just listened to and read,
Mm.
compared to the part three and how radically different that starts to feel. But even then, the novella I just wrote is, and what I'm writing in the sequel now, I yeah, it's so radically different that I feel like I'm always just drawing these new influences and still changing. So I would say originally, some of the books I already listed were big. I liked I I tried to blend some of the more epic fantasy and historical fiction feel with thrillers because of the sci-fi and monster elements in the book. I wanted that fast-paced, intensity to capture the horror side of it. By no means I would definitely not call the Fall of Sylvandria horror, but I wanted some of that thrill element in there.
Yeah.
Whereas now, uh I'm trying to think of a few authors like Stephen R. Lawhead, if you've ever read Taliesin and Merlin and Arthur. I
I've not,
think
but I've seen them.
okay, yeah, those are darn good books. Highly
Okay.
recommend. So I'm trying to capture more of that. He had an eloquence, but a simplicity that I really like.
Mhm.
And then, funny enough, I more recently read uh, "She Dreams in Blood" by Michael R. Fletcher. And I've
Okay.
I've read some of Anna Smith Sparks. I'm trying to remember which one it was that really gripped me, and I thought, "This is more the kind of prose I want." I started trying to study and figure out, okay, what's happening here that I could, learn from. So those have been two very big recent influences, and I think the change to my own prose has been pretty dramatic, if I'm being honest. So I'm somewhat nervous, but in a good way. I think to see how my Skyfold novella lands.
Yeah.
So far, the people I've shown it to have said, "Oh wow, I've gotten very good feedback so far." But it's another. Those are people who I trust to be honest, but not that much. You know what I mean? So now I want to put it out and get real feedback,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Okay. All right. This thing has blown up. We are just bringing people together.
Look at
Mike
that.
wants to know if Project Hail Mary is under 500 pages so he can read it. And apparently it's 476. So Mike's down, and now we're talking about a buddy read. and possibly join in a Discord, and everybody's going to read Project Hail Mary. So, and we have more people coming in.
That's awesome.
So, Fantasy Productions, very nice
Howdy.
to have you.
Howdy, Trinity.
What
Talking
up?
to Trinity tomorrow too, so that's awesome. Thanks for being here.
That's
I forgot to yell at Mark, so apologies, Mark. But Mark, there we go.
No, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. So why are we always yelling, Mark? Chill out.
So good. It's our thing. Whenever I show, whenever we're in a chat, you mentioned earlier, that I tend to always be in the chats when I'm able, and whenever we see each other, it's always Mark, Tim.
He's the best. All right. So, what would you say your process is in writing like your books?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely in between when it comes to pantsing and plotting. I always have the end in mind, and I always have kind of a point form outline, but very, very loose. And then as I'm writing a chapter, I will make little point form notes of what's coming next. And so the outline for each chapter kind of gets written as I go. And I abandon usually about half of that anyway, if I'm being honest. So the story does kind of write itself, but within a certain framework, and that leaves room for creative inspiration, because there's always some things that come as you go that end up being better than what you had in mind. It's just every single time. Yeah. So it's a very loose process, but maybe less so now than it used to be. Like, again, my novella, much more, I think, structured than the Fall of Selvandrea. So it has a very there was a lot of improvisation along the way, but nowhere near. Anyways, it feels like a very fluid story as I'm reading it now. So I feel like maybe that's another area where I've changed. Maybe I'm not a full plotter yet. I'm definitely not.
Yeah. See you, Josh. Thanks for coming hanging out.
Yeah, see you, Josh.
We'll definitely have to figure out that buddy read then, if everyone's going to join. Trinity's going to be there too. That'll work.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, tempting. Yeah.
So, because I definitely, I'll tell you, that book, I've heard nothing but incredible things about it. So it's going to be awesome. All right. So, how did you come up with your characters? Like, did any of them come from like people or was it just completely random? Just thought of them.
Well, I don't. How do I say this? I don't have to be. I'm covered. I jokingly want to say I have to be careful how I answer that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if. Well, you listened to the audiobook, and I made sure I included my usual disclaimer. Did you catch the disclaimer at the opening?
Was it the last sentence? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Now. So I always open my books, every single one, with the usual disclaimer of, this is a work of fiction, names, blah, 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 any resemblance to actual events, locales, or persons is entirely coincidental. And then I always throw in this line, and it's on the actual page in the physical versions too. And it says, if you believe you see yourself reflected in the pages that follow, try to remember, there's no way the author likes you enough to incorporate you into his work.
Yes.
I have to include that every time. Yeah. So that's my disclaimer. Now I'll just disabuse that notion completely. Absolutely. I have fun with like there are, I think there's only, I'll say this. So most characters are sort of a conglomeration of like different elements, that I've kind of squished together from different people, like Brithel's character and Vorsh, I don't want to confuse. Sorry, no, Vorgoz. Vorgoz and Brithel are these two kind of sinister characters that you meet along the way with sort of sing-song voices, and those come from multiple different experiences with multiple different people, and it's sort of just picking and piecing together different elements of characters I've met, along with trying to then piece together the motivations that create that kind of a person, and then portraying them in a way that is hopefully faithful to that sort of, not so much the personality as the drive and the manifestation of what's going on underneath. But then there are other times like Kanna and Jedha, the two old men. Those are very much based on direct encounters. So I mean, the quick story there is that one time I was out for coffee I was supposed to be meeting my sister for coffee, and I sit down and I'm waiting there. I got there a little early. I was doing some writing, and my sister was going to come in about half an hour. And these two old guys come and sit at the table next to me, and they're talking and they're arguing back and forth. They're bickering. They're having a good time, but they're having this,
Yeah.
hilarious banter. And I forget what they made a comment about something, and it was something that I had studied, during my history years, studying history at
Yeah.
university. So I knew the answer to a question they were bickering about. So I said, "Oh, if you want to know, actually." And so next thing you know, they bring me into the conversation. We're going back and forth. We're
Yeah.
laughing. We're having a good time. And there are some direct quotes from that in the story. Like at one point,
Oh,
a barista came by, and she said, uh, she offered to bring them something, and one of the guys turned to her and said, "Oh, you would be perfect. We need one more for our crew. We're about to go rob a bank. Do you want to join? Don't worry. We'll probably get away with it. I'm a good planner. My friend here, for the sake of this, I'll call him, John.
yeah.
He's only been to prison once or twice, so he's got an okay track record. And this guy I can't vouch for, but he's now part of our crew. So we just need
Yeah.
you. Are you good? Let's do it." Like, it was so random, and I just loved it. And so I remember thinking, I want to be this when I'm that age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I make sure, and it's the same in the sequel. They have to appear at
Yeah.
least once per part, if not more. That's the
Yeah.
rule. Yeah.
That's cool. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a favorite character in your book?
Maybe besides those two.
Yeah.
Probably Rinwen. I feel like that's a very maybe that's too easy an answer, but yeah, I mean Rinwen's a lot of fun. Very fun. I think she's the funnest character to write from. Like writing from her perspective is very entertaining to get back into that
Mhm.
sort of just playful young mindset, and it liberates your writing because you can just say and do whatever. Like, she's this hyperactive ADHD little girl,
Yeah.
and you just have fun. And what's fun about that is, so it's a very dark atmosphere and very dark setting, but seen through the eyes of an innocent, excitable young child, suddenly it has new life. It's not just comic relief, it's almost, just the ability to see good in the world around you. It's refreshing. It's meant to be refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to be a curmudgeon? I knew there was a reason I liked you.
There's a reason we get along, Mike.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it, I swear.
I like, and you're talking about like real dark and stuff. I really like how you did like the sisters on, like one of them is one side, like it's constantly, to me, it felt like she has a chip on her shoulder, always mad. It seems like, if anyone even speaks a wrong word about anything, it's like, let's just fight and kill each other.
Yeah.
And the other one's like totally opposite. She seems way more upbeat and more cheerful, I guess you'd say. And I don't know. It's just, I really like the dynamics of them. And because the funny thing is, most brothers, sisters, if you have them, like 9 times out of 10, you're complete opposites.
Yeah.
It's very rare to be like the same at everything. One thing will blow one sister or brother up, make them mad, and the other one's just like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
And then it's just right the opposite for the other. I always like, that's a good dynamic.
I knew these two twin brothers when I was younger who were kind of like that, but only once you got to know them. So at first, everyone thought they were identical. They always spent all their time together. They laughed at the same jokes. They had the same voice, the same haircut. They intentionally, they would even joke. They if you knew them long enough, they would tell you, "Oh no, we do it on purpose. We just love seeing people confused." They would try to make you not know which one it was until you had known them long enough. But then, kind of behind closed doors, they had such opposite personalities. It was so weird once you kind of got through that wall that they constructed around themselves. One of them was kind of a hothead firebrand, and the other was a very kind of gentle, kind guy. And they were both awesome, really fun people to be around, but just so radically opposite and very lovable. But that's the point, is you couldn't see that until you were close enough. And then once you've seen it, you can't unsee it, So I had a little fun kind of capturing that, but with these two sisters in the story. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite line in your books?
Oh, that's tough. Especially coming out of, I have a lot of favorite lines from my new book, but now I have to get back into, and it's funny, I'm in this zone right now. I need to get back into the world of the fall because I'm writing the sequel, or I want to get back to the sequel hopefully next
Yeah.
week after a quick refresh. I mean, I've been told that the ending, the very last line,
Mhm.
hits hard for a lot of people. So maybe you won't say that out loud to not spoil it for anyone who
Yeah.
hasn't read yet.
Mhm.
Um, Trying to think of some others. Uh, I am fond of the main tagline for the book, which comes directly from the story. About remember the wolf, remember what's out there in the dark.
Mhm.
Um, Very
Yeah.
pivotal moment in the story, and
Yeah.
yeah, and that became the tagline for the book itself after the fact. Yeah, so
That's
that one, I
pretty
think
good.
that one stands out the most to me. I think it captures the story too. It's
Yeah.
this, yeah.
Well, all right. So then, since obviously I got to listen to the audiobook and you said that you're working on the novella for it, are you also
Mhm.
working on the audiobook for the like is your plan to like do a book, then do an audiobook, just keep going like that, following, and are you gonna continue to do it yourself?
Yeah. Okay. Trinity, before I answer that,
Oh,
Trinity just said, "Yeah, you know what? That's fair." A lot of people tell me they love that line, and that's
yeah.
that's very fair. That is a fun moment in Mind My
Yeah.
Journeys. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great moment in the story. Yeah, yeah, so I mean that definitely, now that I've done it once, maybe eventually I'll start getting, narrators to do it, but I'm like, half the fun of being a self-published author is learning all these new skills, and part of learning and developing new skills is reiteration, doing it again, doing it better. So I don't
Yeah.
want to stop at one. I want to keep doing it and getting better and better and better. So yeah, uh and the thing is, now there doesn't have to be months and months of delay like there was, for the last
Yeah.
one, right? I'm already done editing the novella. I've already had it go through a few readers. I've gotten some feedback back. I've made some tweaks. I'm still waiting for some feedback, but as far as I can tell, it's in its final form. So I've kind of just gone ahead and started actually recording the audiobook now. And I might just
Okay.
do some retakes later if I need to,
Yeah.
but it's short enough that that's not much extra work. And with
Would that
that,
be would that be like a thing to where instead of having to wait now for the audiobook to come out, are you going to try to possibly put them out either the same day you drop the book, you drop the audio? Like, is that the plan, or is it like within like a week or two, or spread out
yeah, so
further?
probably, well, I've seen some people who are able to do it on the same day, but then I've
Mm,
talked to other authors who did it through ACX like I intend to, and
mm.
it seemed that they tried but couldn't actually get their book in the system until it was published. So,
Okay.
more likely, I'm gonna have to wait till probably the day after the ebook and physical copies come
Yeah,
out to submit on ACX. So it'll probably another 10 business day wait, so 2 weeks. So the goal
that's still
is
not
to have
bad.
it. Oh yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So my estimate is the audiobook will come out 2 weeks after, but it also means I can offer the audiobook with the arc. So when
Oh,
I
yeah,
offer, right, so I'll do the cover reveal and I'll say, hey,
yeah,
if you want a free review copy and ebook or audiobook, here you go.
yeah,
I'll have both on offer, so that's kind of the exciting thing there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Trinity had another line here in your book that you want.
Yeah, that's one
Very
I'm
nice.
very fond of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah,
to
Trinity was one of the absolute earliest readers, and gave a
Okay.
glowing review, and so actually, one of Trinity's, actually, it's on the back of the book itself too. So yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so
Yeah.
very grateful to Trinity for her comments. Yeah. Well,
Awesome.
she said, "Mind blown. The extent of this expansive world Tim McKay has created is incredible." So that went right on the back of
Yeah.
the book.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess I would typically ask, what other projects are you working on right
Mm.
now? But I guess we know we've got
Yeah.
the novella that's coming out, and then at some point, and then book two.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I mean, if all goes well, the novella will come out, I mean, I have to get it out before August 31st in order to qualify for Sphinx, and that's why there's a bit of the rush.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
the Sphinx one? Is that the one that's novellas driven? Like it's only novella. There's one I can't remember what it is.
I wanted
I'd
to make
seen it
sure I
last
wasn't
year.
saying it wrong, but yeah. So Sphinx is the novella one. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I'd seen that last year. I think whenever I was really new to all this stuff, and they were
Yeah.
talking about. I thought it was that one that's only novellas are in it.
If I'm not mistaken, last year was only the second time they've done it. So it's still pretty
Okay.
new itself, compared
Yeah.
to Spiffbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing too. Now, I was so I'll get back to my stuff in a second, but I remember when I found out this year they're doing the previous 10 winners for Spiffbo. I remember
Uh-huh.
being so disappointed because I wanted to give, the Fall of Selvandrea its shot,
Yeah.
which I probably still will next time it comes around. But
Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool.
yeah, so that'd be fun just to give it its chance.
Well, I mean, even if you think about it, if everything goes right, and I think it is, if you ever get to where you win it, like Wraithmark Creative's doing those special editions for them. Like, did you see that? So I'm just waiting for mine to come in, I guess, because I've got, I guess, Sortakagen and where Loyalties Lie. Is that one
Okay,
it? I
yeah.
think it's the Rob J. Hayes one. Yeah. Um, I bought them last year at some point. So I know they're close because they do updates. Like it feels like once every like 3 weeks, something new is we've got this in or whatever. So I know they're close to getting shipped, but
Fair.
they look awesome.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
the plan, but what the plan is like as long as there's enough interest and obviously people spending the money, then like they have a tier on their list to where if it gets to it's like $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever, then that would be enough to fund the next one of 2 more of the books, and that's how it's going to keep doing to where it gets caught up with them.
Oh, that's
where they do them all the winners. So I was like, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I definitely started to catch the special edition bug, so I have some coming soon for one series, and
Can you say what it is or no?
Yeah, well, I mean, I signed on for the Kickstarter for Michael R. Fletcher's. Yeah, so I have his.
That's a black shaped heart or something. What was it called? Is that
Black Stone Heart was book 1, and so that was, I think he did that Kickstarter 2 years ago or last year, and they're now shipping out. And then he just finished the Kickstarter for the back end store is still live now.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just finished the Kickstarter for the sequels, She Dreams in Blood.
Yeah,
and I think actually $60,000, something like that.
Yeah, and I think I actually seen today he started book 3 as well.
I don't know if I
working on it.
No.
I think I'm right about that. Or they're the Insanity editions, right? Is that what he's calling them?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it was today or yesterday one where I seen that he started working on the 3rd one.
Okay, so, wow. Yeah, I saw he was working on the interior for this one now that he has it finalized, how many illustrations are going to be in and things like that. But oh boy, that's fun. Yeah.
I may go back. I've never read any of his stuff. Actually, I think I've got one of his books. Beyond Redemption.
Okay, yeah. That was the one with Clayton Snyder. Is it Snyder? Oh, I'm so sorry, Clayton. If I think it's Snyder, Clayton Snyder, I think. I believe that one was co-written, wasn't it? It's the one I'm thinking. Maybe I'm mixing it up with.
It doesn't say if it is.
Oh no. Okay, that one is just Michael R. Fletcher. Okay, no, I'm thinking a different one that they did together.
I've not read it yet. I've not read, like I said, anything of his, but I've heard he is awesome, and supposedly this book is incredible.
He has a lot of range, so it's interesting because now I've read a few things of his, and my preference is definitely for his
that's like grimdark, ain't it?
Yeah, well, his She Dreams in Blood, Obsidian Blackheart, all those are very grimdark, very gritty, which isn't always my cup of tea. But what I love is the prose. Is he absolutely nails the hell out of his prose in that, and it blows me away. Yeah.
Have you read any of Rob J. Hayes?
It's on my I have 2 of his on my TBR.
I want to. There's so much stuff he's got, and I want to start. Which I've got the Herald and Deathless and whatever right there, the special editions that he had from Broken Binding, and I hadn't even got to crack them open yet, and I've had them for like 6-8 months. But
I have the ebook for like the first 3, and I want to read those.
Yeah. And I think he's coming out with some omnibus. I can't remember which one it is, but I'm assuming in the next couple of weeks,
Hmm,
going to do a Kickstarter on it, and I may jump on it because it looks really good.
fair. Yeah.
All right, so do you have any like dream project you'd like to start or something one day? Like anything just super crazy, like an epic 10 book series, or just like anything, something like that, or
Stuff. I mean, yeah, like I would love to, really dive deep into a single series and give it its due. Um, you know, if I'm being honest, there's room for that to be the Fall of Selvandrea, but your first book, unless you're really, really good right off the bat and you've put, 20 years. Me, this what
yeah.
I really only started, even thinking of writing seriously 2 3 years, I think, more like 2 years before putting out
Okay.
the Fall of Selvandria. So I feel like this is me still learning, in front of everyone and
Mm,
having a fun time doing it. I think it's a darn good book, but I'm very aware that the best is yet to come. Even the sequel is
yeah.
already shaping up to be like a load better in a lot of ways, and that's not to knock the first book. It's just I can see the difference. It's there, and my novella I think is already a big step up. So part of me is nervous to really commit to anything huge yet because I'm like,
Yeah.
I know I'm not there yet, but I
No.
but a single series can take of that magnitude can take like 10 years.
Yeah.
Um, so my novella is a prequel. It is meant to open up a new series that I'm gonna try and alternate books from one series to the
Okay.
next. Yeah. So
That's probably a good idea too, so you don't get burnt out on the same thing.
exactly. Yeah. And then maybe when I'm done these two, I do have ideas for
Yeah.
more of a historical epic fantasy. And I think that would be where I want to shine. I just want to make sure I've kind of honed my craft before attempting something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Well, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. That's the goal. So
Yeah.
as long as I keep on the trajectory I'm on right now and people keep liking it, then
Good.
there's hope that's around the corner. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's switch it up and have a little fun.
We're not
So,
having fun already.
no, well, yes, we're having fun, but more fun questions. So, are you a gamer?
Hmm. I mean, not as much as I used to be, but I like video games, absolutely.
Same me at 100%. So, all right, what's your favorite video game?
Oh, I mean, favorite, I'm still always gonna have to fall on the classic Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Oh my gosh, a man after my own heart. I can't believe it.
It's
It
always
is my top 2 or 3 greatest video games ever made.
yeah.
I love that game.
I was 5 years old when my uncle gave me an N64 and
Yeah,
that was the game it came with, and he had already played, I think the first 3 levels, when you're a kid, and then he played the first 2
yeah,
temples, and so I got introduced to it
yeah,
already having it to a save that was already far enough in, and then I
yeah.
restarted and played the whole thing through myself, and oh, yeah, I have so many memories of that game.
It's incredible. I can remember like in my room and just like staying there and not leaving, except for like my mom or my dad yelling at me. He's like, "Hey, dinner's ready. Come eat." It's like I don't want to eat. I've got to play.
Yeah.
It's so good, and yeah, like going from like the kid, and basically baby Link,
Yeah.
and then like when you finally get the Master Sword too, just man, they killed that with like the music with it's so perfect,
The
so
music
good.
is I mean, yeah, I could go on a whole other tangent there about just music in both movies and video games
Mhm.
is so defining, and that game, the music is just those
Yeah,
songs still haunt me to this day.
yeah,
They'll come up in different contexts. I mean, yeah, we had rain today, and I think at one point I was humming the Song of Storms. Like,
yeah,
it's there. That
yeah,
game is imprinted on my soul. It's just that's another level of achievement.
yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely top 2, top 3 for me,
Mm.
probably.
What would be the
Yeah,
other two?
it's oh gosh. I'm gonna say the one that literally blew my mind the most was oh BioShock.
Okay.
The
Okay. That's
ending of
fair.
BioShock
Mm.
just absolutely blew my mind. Just figuring out what all of it meant after you go through and you play this game the whole time and you're thinking, oh, whatever. I mean, the game's awesome.
Fair.
But then he says the words, and you're like, holy cow, he did it the whole time, and I never caught it. Like, that's so good. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. Oh, Trinity 007. Yes.
Yeah, GoldenEye was fun.
GoldenEye is the GOAT of shooters for sure.
Yeah. Another one that gets underappreciated on the same system was Perfect Dark. Perfect Dark N64.
Did you see where they just canceled the new one? Xbox did. Yeah, they had like 9,000 people get fired. Like last week, they fired I think it was 9,000.
Wow.
And
that's disappointing.
It's sad. They canceled it and like a few others.
Oh yeah, because that was like those were two very fun shooters, and they similar mechanics, but very well executed in different areas, different domains, different main character. Oh yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
And very fun multiplayer.
Yeah, great series. Yeah, I have not played Infinite. I played the first two BioShocks, but not Infinite. And I've heard it's really good too. And yes, ruined friendships, absolutely.
Yeah,
because people, back in the day, you couldn't play, online, so they're like screen sniping you, on your own screen. Like, oh, where are you at? I'm gonna find
two words: a rocket launcher.
A rocket launcher. That's right.
Well, with Perfect Dark,
Golden Gun. No, that or the Golden Gun.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. With Perfect Dark, it was the X-ray gun. Do you remember that?
I didn't play much Perfect Dark.
Okay,
that's the thing. It just I guess I was too much into 007, and then obviously Mario, Zelda, F-Zero, all those. There's so many good games.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, my main system when I was younger was N64. Then I had an Xbox and a PS2, and so there was some Star Wars Battlefront 2. That was fun to play with friends. But then and then there was a long stretch where I played a lot less video games. But I will say, another maybe two quick ones would be, I had a brief stretch of being back in the gaming zone when I played for the first time Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
I wish I would have got to play both of them. I never did, and I regret it so much because everybody just raves about how great they are.
Mind-blowingly good games. And when you first and if you don't know what's coming in game one, when you get to that twist, just the execution is on another level. Is just mind-blowingly well done.
I played both of Star Wars Unleashed. Did you play those?
Okay, yeah. I played those.
Oh my gosh, those were amazing too. I love those games.
Yeah. Very fun for the gaming mechanics. The story, I love the actor. I love the voice actor's story. I wasn't as satisfied, but it was good. But that's where the gameplay much better, but story doesn't even come close to Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah. Super Smash Bros. I've never been a fighter person at all, but I did play a little of was it Smash Brothers Ultimate, on the Switch, and it was fun. I really liked it. But I'm terrible at fighting games, so I was just like, no, it's not for me.
I hate fighting games, but Smash Bros on N64 was like my jam. That was so much fun. That was to me, that was where fighting games peaked, and it never got that glory again, in my opinion.
Every year though, I will go whenever the new Mortal Kombat comes out. I will wait till someone beats it and then does the whole like movie on YouTube, and I'll watch the whole thing because it has some of the craziest story. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So there we go. Metal Gear and Siphon Filter. I think I beat every Metal Gear game. Like oh my gosh, those are great. So
I'm still yet to play Oblivion or the remake, which I need to, because Skyrim is definitely another one of my favorites. That one's
yes. Mortal Kombat's his favorite series. Can't wait. Yes, the second I love the new movie they come out with. It's different, of course, but it's still good. Like introducing a new character that is not part of the game in it. It's a bold take, I guess you'd say. Yeah. But he was pretty good.
I thought it worked. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Let's see. Ratty, does your Vader behind you? No. This is a Lego. It's my son's, but I said it looked better on my bookshelf. So
Okay.
I have him. So wrong way. I have him, and then he's got a couple of the newer or of the like troopers or whatever I can't remember what they're called, and then we've got the dark trooper.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So I think he looks really cool. He looks super
that's a good
mean.
one. See, it looked. Yeah, I didn't realize it was Lego from a or from where it was.
Yeah.
So I thought it was. I've only seen parts of it. I haven't seen the full thing, but the Family Guy Star Wars that they did, I thought it was Stewie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
With a big head on a small body.
Yeah, and then you're talking about like big time like Zelda. Here is Majora's Mask Link.
Nice.
The amiibo, and then Link from the newest games. And then what is this? Twilight Princess. Oh, that one's blurry. There we go.
Nice.
So, but yeah, they're really cool.
I didn't get to finish Twilight Princess, I didn't get to play the newest one, Tears of the Kingdom, but the Breath of the Wild, I got to play like maybe a quarter or so, and then I didn't get to do much more. But I was kind of in the period where I was so busy, I did not have time to go any further.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Metal Gear's good. Mortal Kombat's great. My nephews were both under 10. They would mock me when I lost to Mario Kart. Yeah, we played some Mario. I remember some epic battles with some Mario Kart, and the new one looks pretty cool. I just ain't paying $80, and which I don't have a Switch 2 yet, but that's insane.
Yeah, no. Not happening.
Just on my son's beta as well. Every time my son walks in here, he's like, that's mine, right? I was like, sorry, buddy. It's staying right here. It holds up my shelves, keeps them in line.
Yeah.
So, all right. Did you happen to play any sports, or do you like any sports? If you're Canadian, I'm going to guess hockey, but go ahead.
I like watching hockey. I've gone to some games. I never played much of it except for fun, on the outdoor rink, some winters. But in terms of sports I played a lot of soccer when I was younger. It's been a long time since I've really actively played. And then I did kickboxing for a while. And it's been a while since I went back. When I was in Peterborough for school, I kind of started getting back into it briefly, and just time-wise, I didn't have the time for it in the end. So those were fun years. Those were very fun years, but it's something I haven't really gone back to. Yeah, so these days, not as much. Running, it's really just, at this point, I just try to stay active with some running and some weights. And that's about it.
I always think it's funny on like with hockey in general. Like I was, Tennessee, so Nashville has the Predators.
Yeah.
And they were pretty good a few years back for a good little stretch when like Mike Fisher was there and a few of the other guys, though. We had a really good goalie. I can't think of his name. Pecorine, maybe. But then you go down and now you've got like Florida winning the Stanley Cup, and it's like they don't even get snow. It's like what are we doing here? Like, why do we have hockey teams?
When I see one of these, U.S. teams that has like half Canadians, which I find funny, and then they don't have any snow, and that's kind of ideal. There is something fun about going into the rink, out of like blistering hot weather, and then you put on some skates, go on the rink, and have a good time. Like that's fun. Yeah. So that is kind of maybe a fun way. There's something crappy a little bit about coming out of a blizzard and then playing hockey inside. Yeah. So fair enough. I don't begrudge any of those teams their wins, but it does feel funny.
Yeah. I like the idea that they come up with a few years ago whenever they were starting to have, is it like 1 or 2 games a year now outside? I know they had one, I think, in Chicago a few years back, and where they're just outside, like on the ice, and actually played an NHL game. Like I think that's pretty cool. Something different.
Fun. I just feel like so much can go wrong.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. All right. What do you need in your workspace in general when you're writing? Like headphones, you listen to music, light some candles. Like what is your like get in the zone type thing?
I mean, the only thing I need to get in the zone is coffee and maybe a quick refresh on the last chapter I wrote. And that's all. And I just dive in. Yeah. Music I find distracting. I used to try to put on instrumental. I can't, if I have lyrics, it'll totally distract me. But even instrumental, after a while, it wasn't so much that it would distract me, but if it didn't perfectly match the mood of what I was writing, I just it became distracting. There's nothing
Yeah.
worse than like writing a heartfelt moment, and you have like Batman Begins, by Hans Zimmer music in the background. Like
Yeah.
that's good for a battle scene, maybe, but definitely not for like
Yeah.
a love scene or something, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it gets hard to constantly if you're constantly having to change your music to fit the mood, then that's just one more layer of distraction, and I need laser focus.
Yeah.
So
That's like me, like with just reading in general. Like I need like super quiet,
mm,
like with my wife and kids when they talk or whatever. It's like I half the time, if they are, I just walk to the other room and read. Like I
yeah.
can't, my mind just cannot focus whenever there's something going, noise or whatever. Like I need silence.
Now you
So
did audiobook for mine. Do you do a lot of immersion reading or
yeah, a lot. I do more. I have now because I drive for a living, so I'm on the
mm,
road. I drive for 10 hours a day.
oh, okay, that
So
would do it.
yeah, like I do quite a few audiobooks, and
Fair.
especially like the summertime, man, I cannot. I'm so busy. Like whenever because I'm gone one day and then I'm back the next, so I
Mm,
get like 5-ish hours with my wife and kids every other day. So I had to rely on audiobooks to get anything done because
fair.
by the time I get to where I'm going, I'm pretty tired. So especially summer wise, because then obviously, you mow yards, got to mow my yard. I got, they're doing stuff. We've got people coming over all the time, swimming, and there's just constantly but wintertime it's a lot different. I can chill out and get more reading done, bigger books basically.
Mhm.
So I've kind of figured out like, okay, I'm pretty much stuck with audiobooks and short small books
Fair.
to be
Yeah.
able to get anything done right now. I'm just constantly something.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's kind of how I roll.
I think that was my mentality for writing, finally, writing a novella. I love my big epic fantasies,
Yeah,
but I just know how many people that are switching over to novellas now in between because they need
yeah,
it. Because it's just, and I myself, the irony is I write these huge chonkers, and excuse me, the last one I wrote, or the last one I read, do I have it here? Yes, I do. Yeah. So, I mean, the last big chonker I read was Bill Adams', God's Blood
oh,
Tragedy.
I've heard it's so good. I've heard it's
It's very
good.
good. It's very, very good.
I gotta read
Uh,
it.
dense world building, just the way I like it,
Yeah,
and very fun story. And
yeah,
it took me like 3 months to read, which is
yeah,
just I read the Wheel of Time series, I think almost in its entirety in that period, in that same light. Like, you know, I used to read one Wheel of Time book like a week at most, or maybe two. And
yeah,
this took me way too long just because I would like some nights 10 pages was a stretch, and not because it was bad, because the book before it seemed, and then I would get on a
yeah,
roll and I'd read 100 pages in a day. And then the next day I would try to do that again. Nope, 10 pages. Like,
yeah,
just,
yeah.
I'm not the reader I once was. So I just read a novella the other day and I thought, oh,
Yeah.
this is why everyone loves this. You can do it in one
Yeah.
sitting. It's great.
Yeah, especially when you've got a really good one. There's been two or three I've read that are like, because me 50 pages a day, which I can't do every day. Like
Mhm.
some days I don't even read, but
Yeah.
if I can get 50 pages in the day, like I feel like I have accomplished
Yep.
something great.
Yep.
And there's been like probably two or three novellas I've read that have just 120-ish pages where I blow through the whole thing in a day. And
Yep.
like to me, like, oh yes, like I'm conquering this stuff. Like,
It feels good. Yeah.
it's so good, and the books are amazing. So,
I had so not that long ago, I did some judging for a short story competition, and that ended up being it was only 1,000 words was the limit. So they were very short
oh,
stories, but I judged about 300 of them, something like that.
oh wow,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, all within a very condensed period of time. So that was a lot of fun, and you see such a range of creativity, but also skill level. And then the ones that are really good, you see just the amazing ability of authors to condense so much into so little space. And
yeah,
that was a skill I know I want to work on, and which is part also the appeal of starting in novellas now. And now I've definitely caught the bug because I already have a novella idea for the Fall of Selvandrea and that series. Um,
yeah.
but like because they're bite-sized, they're manageable for readers who don't have time but still want to be,
Mhm.
taking part in these stories. And there
Yeah.
are some things you can do with that that are harder to pull off in an expanded medium. Yeah, so it's fun, and as a reader, it's very satisfying because you can blast through them, and you still have that same satisfaction of I just read a darn good story, and it
Yeah.
took me, a tenth of the time. It's great.
Exactly. I just finished an art for a short story horror anthology
Mm,
last week, and they're so good, man. I mean, you can get a whole story in like five-ish pages on my Kindle. It's like wow, 5 to 10. Like, I mean, nothing to it. It's like
yeah,
yes, like, and they are just straight to the point. Like no fluff. Like this is what happens. This is what goes on. That's it. Dead. You're done. Go on.
yeah.
Like I love it. That's
I'm
the first
I'm
time I read them.
I'm not writing for it. I'll just say, and I don't want to say too much, and I won't say who, but I'm involved with a anthology right now, and it's a lot of fun because I get to read all these stories coming through, and that's the thing is it's exactly that. It's the satisfaction of essentially a chapter length story,
Yeah.
and then you get the satisfaction to a variety, not just
Yeah.
different authors, not just short stories by the same author, which can be great. Like yeah, I'm sorry, Jan, your last name I always mix up, but if you've read Jan MIK and then I forget the rest. It's
Okay.
yeah, but he's on Twitter and we met early on. Fantastic writer, and he puts out horror anthologies or short story collections of his own writing.
Okay.
Um, so there's a place for that too, and he nails it. But then finding a good anthology with that blessing in disguise of variety of the author as well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah. I'm saying mine had 10, I think it was 10 authors. So 10 completely different stories.
Mm,
And every one of them was really good. There was like four like super standouts to me that
mm,
was just like blew my mind how good they were.
that's fun.
So yeah, it's the first time I've ever read any short stories. Like I've never. It's either like no novellas or a normal full length book, and man, I really like them. They're really good.
And do you do a lot of horror? Do you read a lot of horror like that?
Not a ton.
Mm,
I was pretty much totally against horror until I think the first horror novel I actually read was Dark Bloom by Molly
okay,
McCall,
I'm Molly. Yeah,
and it gave me nightmares for 2 days. But it still might be the best horror book I've ever read.
Mm,
Like it's so good. Now, I haven't read. I feel like my camera's falling. I haven't read any like Stephen King horror yet, so I don't know anything about him. I've read oh, what was it? Oh, Billy Summers.
mm,
So, it's not horror by no means. But I've ventured a little bit more. I've read a few of Janelle Sheeky's books, The
okay.
Collider Man, incredible.
Mm,
It's really good. And then read yeah, that anthology. And then
fair.
really that may be it. I mean, I don't consider Nick Horvath's Sledge book
No,
horror, but dude, it's
pretty.
brutal and it's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's brutal. Yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh, he was
incredible.
one of my first, not first, but very early indie reads, and that was
Yeah.
a pleasure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do we
Yeah,
got?
I mean, both Janelle and Molly are on my TBR. I just haven't gotten to
Yeah.
either of those yet. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I've been for a while looking for good horror,
Yeah.
because I had kind of a few bad experiences from just grabbing horror books off the shelves in the bookstore and just, oh my
Oh,
gosh, there's such slop out
yeah.
there. And then
Yeah.
my first attempt at Stephen King was The Stand, and I couldn't stand it. So
Whew. Now that's a big book
it's
too.
a chunker too. But I was like, I read big books all the time. And I was like, nope,
Yeah.
not this one. Yeah.
Yeah. What do we got? I admire people that can manage to write a short story and not have it explode on them.
Mm.
Yes, I agree.
When I
Yeah.
started reading,
The Veil. I was going to say The Veil by E.H. Bradley. I've read
ah,
it too.
on my TBR as well.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
that is
Good
right
stuff.
there waiting for me on my Kindle.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
I when I started telling people I was working on a novella, I kept getting told, "Oh, you say that now, but I bet you write big novels. It's going to explode into something bigger." Like,
yeah.
no, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a novella.
Yeah.
I have it. I don't see how this story could be longer. And sure enough, it was exactly where I wanted it to be. But maybe I've changed in that sense too because I had
Yeah.
digested so many short stories beforehand. But yeah, I get what they're saying because on the flip side, uh, Well, on the flip side, I'm kind of there. I am there now for the sequel to the Fall of Selvandrea, where that thing
Yeah.
just keeps growing. I part of me wants to make it a 3-part story like
Mhm.
book one, but it would be freaking huge if I did that. At this point, that would be looking at
Ah.
probably 200,000 words or more.
Ooh,
So I
okay.
think I'm gonna leave it at 2. But there are downsides to that. I'm so looking forward to the ending of part 3 that I really
Yeah.
wanted that to be how this book ended, but
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm still on the fence there. So I have with my bigger books, I still fall into that trap for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, I mean, you got to make sure to cut it below 500 pages, otherwise Mike can't read it. So,
It's still 3 parts, so I can still
uh-oh,
say,
he just said,
each part
no.
of it. Yeah, he's gonna be like, "No, don't you
Good.
do it. I wrote a novella for you, Mike. Stop it." I've done enough for you.
That's right. All right. So, what advice would you give others that want to become an author?
Hmm. Oh, that's tough. Get a good cover. I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, that's the start.
No, I mean, so yeah, that does matter, but again, you have to earn it. You have to earn it by actually, having a story and the problem too is that you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So what you think qualifies as, worthy of the market, you might get a rude awakening when you first put your stuff out there. And it's why it's so important to meet other authors, share your work. Don't be A lot of new authors are kind of nervous. They're all worried that someone else is going to steal their ideas, so they don't put it out there soon enough. And you really should get more eyes on your work early because it's the only way you learn, and you learn through repetition. So don't get so stuck on a single story for so long that you never grow past it. Start with something manageable, get it done, move on to the next thing, get feedback on the first thing, and then do it again and again and again. And that's the only way to grow. And you can do that in public, kind of like what I've done, but you can also do that
Yeah.
in private, which frankly is probably smart for most people. Uh,
Yeah.
I leveraged a lot of marketing. I used to work for a marketing agency, and I took a lot of marketing courses and did a lot of research before I dove in, and had a big social media presence to kind of to lean on. Um,
Yeah.
I can't recommend my path to most new authors. I think you have to put in the time and the work and the study to get what you write up to a certain level and then put it out. But it's
Mm.
very hard to know when that point is. At some point you do just have to take the risk. You'll get the feedback and you reiterate, you try again. But if it you- like it's an exercise in repetition, and you
Yeah.
have to put in the reps. You know,
Okay. So I've been running. Mark said I've been running since October, I believe, and feel like I've gotten nowhere. And then I have the beginning and end. This is a story I've had in my head for like 10 years now. I have to just fill in the middle. There you go.
there, yeah.
Mm.
I started writing part one of the Fall of Selvandrea in maybe I want to say maybe not January, but it sounds about right. January or February 2022. You know,
Yeah.
and I by fall, so by September, I had written only maybe like 20,000 words of that. So the vast majority of the actual book came, uh, was written in a much shorter time. But that initial year, I learned a lot along the way. I at a much slower pace, but I was spending maybe just a few hundred words a day, but a lot of time studying and learning. So
Yeah.
the beginning of your story can often take a long time to get out until you catch that momentum later.
And to me, it seems too, there's different ways to go about it as well. I mean, because if you can look at like someone like I said earlier, like Janelle
Mm.
Shiki, she's come out with 3 novellas.
Mhm.
So, and they're all different,
Yeah.
so that's a way. I don't know if she ever plans to write a full length novel, but like this is totally working for her,
Yeah.
like her stuff's awesome. So, and then you've got others, they write nothing but massive books.
Yeah.
It's
Depends a lot on genre too. Like
yeah,
I
that's
found
true.
that Rise of Dreska originally did pretty well, shockingly well for a new guy who was really just testing the waters. But again, I leveraged a lot for that. But what I realized very quickly was it was not the best fit to market, not for the genre and not for the writing style. But when I put 3 parts together, that did much
Mhm.
better. And then when I gave it a new cover, it did much better.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of reiterating and trying new things. even with the same story, and it worked in my case. But that's just for epic fantasy. If you're writing epic fantasy, you probably want a bit of a chunker. But horror, there's kind of a lot of room there for shorter, punchier works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's refreshing because that's what a lot of us want to read.
Yeah. So Max says, Mark, you got to let people read it and see what works and what needs work. That's a good idea. I guess that's the only way you're ever going to get actual advice too. You know, if your stuff's any good, you got to let other people read it.
Yeah.
It took me
It's
too
funny
long
because
to
right
think.
now, one author friend of mine, he gave me about 30,000 words from his upcoming book to read. And I think he's had some others beta read for him at this point. But you know, this is a big chunker of a book coming. And he passed along these, you know, these, and he told me he had spent, I think, 5 or more years working on it. And so you never know what's coming your way when someone tells you that and gives you it, because sometimes it can be just honestly, someone can spend 10 years working on just utter slush, you know.
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the opposite of that. I've been reading this sample, and he says it's only the first 3 chapters, and it's like 30,000 words. So like it's going to be a long book.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, are they good? You know, I talked about prose and people I admire right now for the level of prose they have, and they've written, you know, someone like Michael R. Fletcher with all those books that he has. And this guy that I'm reading right now has, I would say, that level or very close with his first book. That is so frustrating.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's great. It's really fun to see, you know. Yeah.
All right. So if you were, which you are, of course, and you have a job, but if you were not an author, what would be your dream job?
I mean, kind of what I got to do this year was definitely up there.
Yeah.
But maybe I shouldn't say that. No. Okay, I have 2 dream jobs, and they both are related to this world. I love editing, so I've gotten to do that all year. That's been great. So freelance editing on the side has been a lifesaver on one end, and also just a lot of fun. A great way to learn while also contributing. You know, because you're learning from different styles and different approaches and different creative ideas and different prose elements, and you bring in, you know, what you have to the table. In my case, you know, grammar, spelling, line editing, usually just copy editing and helping someone, you know, with clarity, with context, with consistency, things like that. um but yeah, so I mean, I love editing because it's, you're getting paid to read, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the dream. And then teaching, you know, those who can't do teach. So I have to admit that teaching, you know, for the writing program that I studied in, you know, I did my university years, and then I took a 2-year, I got to do it in one because of all my previous studies. But the writing program I got to teach for it this year. That was pretty fun because you see all the people, all these students who are straight out of school, high school for some, a few from university, like I did, and they're just at the beginning of this process, and you get to teach that to the, you know, and show them what it takes and some of the steps they can take to take off online, and or to query, and you know, helping them edit query letters for trad pub, and it's just so much fun. You know,
Yeah.
these students are really incredible, and you see really great work coming out of them already. So you kind of see, oh, you've got a future ahead of you, you know? Very satisfying when you get to be part of that.
Yeah. Teresa, is there anything besides writing?
No. What are you talking about?
Mark's like, paid to read. I need that job.
Yeah, it's great.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, like I did my, okay, the only exception maybe would be my marketing work. I did enjoy that. That was a fun. I worked there for about a year and a half, something like that. Yeah, and that was right around the time I was starting to push my writing. So then I went from that to editing. Yeah, that was fun. There were downsides. It's still not my dream career though.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you're marketing someone else's stuff, and depending on who and what you're marketing, that can get very boring. You know, but I find it fascinating, the process of appealing to people to buy anything, really, depending on what it is. That can be a fun process. It's kind of like getting into the mind of someone and thinking what makes you tick and what makes you push that button on a given day. Sometimes even just changing the wording of a single sentence on a single tweet or a single ad can be like a life and death difference for a business, right?
Yeah.
And same thing as an author. So the right post can make or break you, you know? It's fun. It's kind of psychologically, I like that. I find it interesting.
I like this. I can see Tim as a UFC fighter walking in the ring and telling his opponent, "I'm about to edit your face." Oh, that's pretty good.
Missed opportunity. I have an old belt downstairs from I
Yeah.
think though I got some silver medals at the nationals here in Canada once, and I got a big belt from a joint karate and kickboxing tournament I went to one time. But yeah, I never had anything as fun as that. I think I had Tim the Terminator on my jacket that I would wear in.
Oh, nice,
That was
nice.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
All right.
Timinator was another
The
working.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is your favorite author or authors if you have more than one?
I mean, yeah, all time I think would have to be Stephen R. Lawhead. So
Okay.
the Pendragon cycle. Yeah, those books were foundational for me, definitely. Especially that first one, Taliesin, Celtic history or Celtic history and lore and mythology
Mhm.
combined with Arthurian legend and Roman Empire history in Britain. Just all those elements blended together seamlessly.
Okay.
Very well done. Yeah. And then again, maybe, uh, but they're kind of a different category in my mind. They are two of my favorite books, but they stand on their own. But Count of Monte Cristo and Victor Hugo's Les Mis. Um,
Okay.
those three for
Good
sure.
selection. Awesome. All right. If you could put yourself in a story, which one would it be?
Ooh.
If you could think of anything to be like, oh, that'd be pretty cool to be in it.
That's tough. Oh, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, what would be cool? I don't know, because a lot of the stories I love are gritty, and I would not want to live in that world. Like,
Yes.
like any of my favorite books, I'm like, no, I don't. I didn't like Count of Monte Cristo. The hell he had to go through to get to where he. No, heck
Yeah.
no. Les Mis, it's in the name. It's Les Miserables. I don't want to be part of that story.
Yeah.
Taliesin, heck no. I can't think of a single story I
Yeah.
like. I would want to be part of.
That'll
Maybe.
work.
You know what? Transcendence, but that's a movie. With
Okay.
Johnny Depp, if you've seen that one.
I don't think I have.
Oh, I
It's
love that movie.
good.
It's
Okay.
shockingly good. Yeah.
I'll check it
Uh,
out then.
yeah. The whole premise is as he's dying, they upload his brain into essentially an AI. And so his personality becomes
Oh.
the personality of the first like universal AI.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. That sounds cool.
So it's a humanized artificial intelligence, and
Yeah.
the implications of that and how it evolves and and the music, another case of music really
Yeah.
changing. Oh,
Yeah.
it's just a good all around movie. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, highly recommend. So that's one I want to be that AI. Absolutely,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Awesome. All right. We'll wrap it up. I've got 3 questions left.
Sounds good.
So, what are you reading right now?
Oh, got it downstairs. I've got Co Lancell's Far Removed.
Okay.
So that's my work in paperback. And then I have the beta read I was doing for a friend, and I won't say his name yet, but oh my gosh, is he good? So I will sing his
Okay.
praises like crazy when it's ready. And then I have Michael Mitchell's Price of Power.
He's got those got new covers too, didn't they?
Yeah,
They are
those bangers.
sick looking.
Yeah, yeah. So that's on the
Oh,
go.
nice.
For ebook, I have that, and I have Umbra by Amber Toro. Those are my two
Okay. I've
working
heard it's good
ebooks on
too.
the go. But I'm so slow
Yeah.
right now; it's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I working at it.
I think I'm starting Iron Gold tomorrow on audiobook.
Okay.
So it's
Yep.
book 4 in Red Rising. I've been waiting on it forever to finally come in through the library. I have them all, and I've got the new, what is it, the Nerdy Ink covers. So I changed out the originals.
I don't
And
know if I
so
saw
they're,
that.
yeah, I'll grab them. I'll let you see them. They're pretty cool.
Sure.
Okay. So Red Rising, this is the cover for it.
That's the old one, or that is
No,
the
this is
one?
the Nerdy Ink. It's just
Okay.
the flip sheets. They're the original normal books, but they had these on sale. They They were like 50% off, and then I had there was another random code. I got all 6 of these for $13 or something.
Oh
So I
wow.
was like, I'd be crazy not to, because they are awesome looking. They're so much better.
Yeah, that's fun.
So
Yeah.
that's Red Rising, Golden Sun. Then we've got Morning Star,
Mm,
which is really cool.
yeah.
I love the blue.
Yeah.
Then Iron Gold's what I'm doing next.
Mm,
They're really nice. And then after that is Dark Age.
yeah. I feel like that one I've seen. That one I've definitely seen. Yeah, yeah.
And then of course Nightbringer.
Nightbringer. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but
yeah. The book before, I think a student kept bringing it in and to class. Funny enough, yeah. Last semester, I guess. So that was fun to see.
Yeah.
I haven't read it though.
Yeah, those books are. Yeah, I've read the first trilogy, like I said, or the first trilogy, the first 3 books, and I'll still say this: the ending of Golden Sun and the beginning of Morning Star is some of the greatest stuff I've ever read in my life. I mean, it is so incredible how good that is. Like, I absolutely love that series. It's so good. So I've heard the next 2 books, Iron Gold and Dark Age, is like super dark, like really dark. And then Lightbringer gets back to the original, or back to the, lighter side, I guess you'd say.
Somewhat brighter tone.
And then I think Red God's supposed to come out next year. So to end the series. So,
I was gonna ask, is that the last one or how
yeah.
many? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be it. All right. So my next question would typically be, what is your favorite book? But I have a feeling it's The Count of Monte Cristo or Les Mis.
Well, I think it would be Taliesin. It would be Stephen R. Lai. It's Taliesin.
Okay.
Yeah. With those 2 as almost tied, I would say, for second.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna, like I said, Count of Monte Cristo. Hopefully by the end of the year, that's my plans. So get that one done, because I really want to read it.
I'll say this, for movie adaptations, it's a toss-up, because I love Count of Monte Cristo, the one with Jim Caviezel and Guy Pearce. That's the name. That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
He plays Mondego, and just so they're so good against each other. But I'm not a fan. I'll be honest. I love the actors, but I hated the movie, the musical movie they released with like Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe and Anne Hathaway for Les Mis.
Okay.
I saw that in theaters, and I was like, what am I watching? I just, some people love it. I'm like, good for you, but I can't stand this. I think the reason why is because I came to it from having seen the earlier movie adaptation with Liam Neeson. And so he plays Jean Valjean, and then Javert is, why am I forgetting his name? Barbossa from Pirates of the Caribbean, or The King's Speech.
Oh, geez.
What's his name? Someone in the chat help me out here. This is unacceptable.
Yeah.
I've had a long day of audiobook and editing, so I'm mentally spent. But Jeffrey Rush.
Rush.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much. He's an incredible actor, and in that, I've never, that was just the ultimate depiction for me of Inspector Javert. It's such a good movie, and I don't know why more people don't know about it. Yeah. So,
all right, final question. It's more for me. What book would you recommend me to read?
Especially recent reads. So I mean, God's Blood Tragedy, I would say, is up there.
I think I have it on Kindle. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think I do.
What else is there? I've got a few here. Song of Bones by Isaac, who I'm always on all caps with. That one's fun. It's shorter too, so it's that mix of dark. It's kind of like Redwall, but a bit darker. So, and from the perspective of mice and rats, and but very fun. Yeah, those would be, I think, my 2 big ones right now, especially ones that I've read recently. Oh, and then have you the other one I always go to, which, like, it's hard to describe, but I absolutely love it, because in terms of writing quality, I was blown away. It was one of my earliest indie reads. but have you talked a lot to and or read Starlight Jewel by E.L. Lyons?
I have not.
Okay, she's like,
Okay.
she shares my love of grammar and writing and just the functions and the skills behind it and just constantly refining your craft. And so this was
Okay.
kind of for her the same thing as Fall of Selvandrea was for me. Um,
Okay.
it's very fun. It's all about Spriggans and human Spriggans hybrids and theft and intrigue and romance elements, but not it is worth it. I really enjoyed that book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe I have come on. I know it's yes, there we go. I do. This is her new cover. So yeah, Starlight.
Okay. Okay. I feel like I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
Fair. Yeah.
That looks
highly,
nice.
highly
Yeah.
recommend.
Okay.
One of my favorite people in the online book community by like a mile. So highly recommend.
I'll add that to the old Amazon
the
or her. Yeah. Yeah. Something. That's
Tree
for
Smut
sure.
from E.L. Lyons. Yeah, that's like
you got to read
like it's not
True Smut.
Yeah. She likes to say it's steamy but not spicy, and that's a fair description. I finally, I mean, you've read mine, so you know, like the level of romance in The Fall of Selvandrea is pretty mild. But I did try to add some more into the novella I just wrote because it's central to the story. But I think I hit that same line where it never hits like I don't need sex scenes or
Okay, are we talking like you talking about like smut, whatever, or like are we talking worse than A Court of Thorns and Roses?
Oh yeah, so no, that would be like wait, no. That's
okay.
Okay, that
so
would
we're
be
wheeling it back. Okay.
Yeah. Steamy would just be like you have that sense, but
yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. No, that's totally fine. Yeah.
So that's what that's the point. That has no appeal to me, but so I wanted the romance without that. You know.
Have you read it? Have you read Akator at all?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay.
I've read like seen pages and I'm like, hell no.
If you do, don't read it. Do the audiobook. Me and Molly.
It sounds worse to me. I don't want to hear that.
Oh, it is funny is what it is. Like when you get to and some of the stuff when they're talking about he says a couple of things like she was purring at him and stuff like that. It's like, what are we doing here? It is so crazy. So I mean, it's just some of the stuff, man.
Yeah, if I need a laugh, maybe I'll grab it with an extra credit.
Yeah. It's hilarious. If you've got which I don't know if you can or not, but like the Libby app, I know for like
no.
Okay, all right. That's you get it from the library. I know we have it here, and it definitely helps not having to spend all this dang money on audiobooks. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So. Well, all right, man. That's all I've got. And thank you very, very much for coming on. I know I haven't reached out to you in a while to be like, let's do something, but you're always around. So, and you're the best. So
back at you. And this was as much fun as I expected it to be. So
awesome. I'm sorry, Mike, as well, that I didn't, X and get him out, but anyways, do you have anything you want to plug or anything before we go?
Well, I mean, I had thought of this. I should have mentioned it much sooner, but I mean, The Fall of Selvandrea is free on ebook right now. So this week it's the ebook is available. And I mean, like we've been talking about, the audiobook is live, which is still so fresh. So be sure to give that a listen, narrated by yours truly. So if my voice didn't totally bother you this last hour and a half,
it's so good, man.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun narrating that, so I think it's worth it. And then Skyfold, my upcoming fantasy heist novella. If all goes well, I mean, it will absolutely be out by August 30th at the latest. Hopefully, a week or two before that. Still finalizing some details, but I have a novella coming soon, and I think people are. I don't think people are ready for it, but I'm excited to get it out there.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'll definitely have to check it out for sure because I think it was 7 weeks away, I guess at the latest.
Yeah.
So because it's already first week pretty much done in July. God, the year's crazy.
June flew by, and we're already a week into July. I mean, it's going to come very fast.
I said leave it to a volunteer. Fantasy heist. Yes, we will leave you with that, so you can't know anything else.
Cheers.
All right, y'all have a good evening. And we are.